Okay, so I have exams next week and the week after that, but a normal person right now would be studying. I am instead narrating a battle for you guys, so you better appreciate it. Anyways, how's it going, guys? I got a U battle today against my buddy KameloxYx. He does upload narrated Wi-Fi battles, and I believe this is my last U battle that I have saved up because of tier changes. You might not be seeing this team again until Chansey leaves UU, because Chansey fits a lot better in this team, and I have recently updated it. So yeah, you might not be seeing this team for a while. Anyways, looking at potential threats on Kamelox's side of the field, Suicune and Shaman really seem to be the only two things that might cause me a bit of trouble. Crocune can single-handedly destroy Stall, especially if it ends up being the very last Pokemon on the opposing opponent's team. But as long as I have Victini around for Suicune, I really shouldn't be too afraid of it. And yes, I do have Xatu, Roserade, and Snorlax for Shaman, but still, Life Orb Shaman hits like a truck, so I have to watch out for that. Anyways, he's going to be leading off with the Manectric as I lead off with Rhyperior. I'm going to go for the Protect, just to scout out to see what he wants to do, as he ends up going for the Hidden Power Ice, or maybe possibly the Hidden Power Grass. Also, I know some of you are asking, why does he have Manectric over Raikou? Well, Manectric has three things Raikou does not. It has Switcheroo, access to a fire move, which are Overheat and Fire Blast, I believe, and then he has Lightning Rod, which Raikou does not carry. So Manectric really isn't that bad of a choice over Raikou, but it just comes down to personal preference of everybody. But yeah, I brought in Victini to take the hit, went for the U-turn as he brought in the Arcanine. I then U-turn out into my Rhyperior, get on my rocks as he brings in the Bronzong. I'm not going to bring in my Xatu because obviously I do not want hazards being up on my side of the field, which is the only reason why I do carry Xatu. And I'm going to go for Nightshade. I actually don't carry Heat Wave just because this is a 3 attacking Xatu to deal with just about every single Pokemon that sets up hazards in the U tier outside of Frostlass. So yeah, definitely a good set in my opinion. I believe it's like Grass Knot, Roost, Nightshade, and Psyshock. Weird, but it definitely works. As I keep going for the Nightshade, considering that Bronzong really can't do anything to me, and if he did want to stay in, I would eventually kill the Bronzong, considering that I have a recovery move, which Bronzong doesn't tend to learn, and even then it only gets Roost. So he goes on to Suicune, and on the off chance that he has the offensive variant with like Calm Mind, Max Special Attack, and Max Speed, I'm going to bring in my Roserade, and even then I can always just bring in Snorlax and just Whirlwind him out. So I still don't know if he is that set, because he makes a good play, predicts me to bring in Roserade on Suicune, doubles out to Arcanine, and then is going to make another good play, knowing that I'm not going to bring in Snorlax. I'm instead going to bring in Rhyperior to take the possible close combat, and Overheat does about 40%, and that actually did a lot less than I thought it would do, considering that Rhyperior has like no special bulk whatsoever. So I'm going to say, knowing I should be able to take a close combat thanks to Solid Rock, I'm going to go for the Rock Blast, and I missed. But it's okay, it really isn't too significant considering that I can just go for Protect, get that extra little bit of leftovers HP to hopefully be able to live another close combat, then in return finish off the Arcanine, which means the one thing that could kind of take down Roserade is gone. Then again, Shaman could still carry like Psychic or Air Slash off the wall. I have to watch out for that, sorry. And I take out the Arcanine, which is really good, as this turn is going to bring in the Shaman. Obviously, I'm pretty positive he's just going to go for the Sea Flare, which normally I would bring in Roserade or Victini, but because Snorlax is at full HP, even after -2, I should still be able to take a Sea Flare and Whirlwind him out. But he actually makes the play of predicting me to bring in Roserade or Victini and goes for the Earth Power, which means I can easily live this hit and go for the Whirlwind. I didn't want to go for the Body Slam, considering that if I didn't get the Power Hacks, and if he did get the -2, he might take me out, which he did get the -2 and my special defense. So Whirlwinding him out was a good play, as I Whirlwind back out to Suicune. Again, I don't know if he's offensive or Crocune, so I don't want to take a Hydro Pump being a -2 special defense, and I'm just going to bring in my Roserade, as he turns out to be Crocune, because he goes for the Scald. And if you're wondering why I came to that assumption, is because offensive Suicune tend to run Hydro Pump or Surf and not Scald, or do they? I don't know, I've never faced offensive Suicune, I'm just going by the set that I saw in Smogon. Anyways, because Crocune really can't do anything to Roserade unless it boosts up, I'm just going to stay in and go for Elair Spikes as he brings in the Bronzong. Again, I don't want him getting up hazards, because I don't like hazards being on my side of the field, but as long as they're on my opponent's side, it's perfectly fine by me. So he does go for the rocks, I guess thinking I wouldn't bring in Xatu. Then again, you saw how much damage Gyro Ball was doing. There was really no reason for me not to bring it in. And I believe he only has about 3 more Gyro Balls left, 3 or 4 around there, so in the long run, I would eventually stall him out of Gyro Balls, just roost up and just completely counter the Bronzong. Anyways, he brings in the Manette trick. I thought he would actually go for the switcheroo, which is why I actually brought in my Rapier basically as switcheroo fodder. But it turns out he actually goes for the Thunderbolt, which means now I can go for the Roar on whatever he decides to switch in, so I can get hazard damage on 2 Pokemon. But it turns out I just roar him out into the Manette trick after he brought in the Bronzong, considering that Rapier can almost do nothing to Bronzong, just because I don't think Rapier tend to carry Fire Punch, which I guess is kind of viable. Then again, I'm not running any attack EV, so it really wouldn't be too beneficial to me. Anyways, as I said, roar him out back into Manette trick. And at this point, my best switch into this thing is my Snorlax, so I bring that in. And thanks to me being thick fat, max special defense, I really take nothing from that. And if you're wondering why I call my Snorlax Julian, it's because I bought my baby nephew Julian a little Snorlax plushie. So I thought it'd be kind of cute and adorable, I don't know, to name him after my Snorlax, just because he is my only nephew. But yeah, he brings in the Flygon, crits my Snorlax, which actually did matter because I believe the max damage and Outrage would have done was about 51%, and I was around 56, maybe 60%. So yeah, I bring in my KameloxYx, take the hit. Luckily, I do not miss the Will-O-Wisp, and because he does get the 3-turn Outrage, I will get 2 turns of burn damage and the extra bit of damage with Shadow Ball, which is really beneficial to me, just because this Flygon is now completely crippled, which means I no longer have to worry about it. As he brings in the Shaman, this Shadow Ball is actually going to do a good amount of damage to it. I was actually pretty surprised by this, considering that I run no special attack EVs, and predicting him to just go for the rest, I decided to bring in my Victini and just U-turn out on whatever he wanted to bring in after he did rest up with Shaman. Turns out he is actually carrying Aromatherapy, which I guess is kind of viable. I mean, to each their own, which means now that Flygon's burn is gone, but as long as I keep KameloxYx around, Flygon shouldn't be too big of an issue, and his last 3 at this point are Suicune, Bronzong, and Flygon, all which KameloxYx deals with. As he brings in the Suicune, as long as I have Victini around, I really do not have to worry about this Crocoon, as he does end up going for the Calm Mind, and this is why I actually run Victini as opposed to Darmanitan. As you're about to see, I'm going to go for the trick, tricking off my Choice Scarf to the Crocoon, completely shutting it down, and it is no longer a threat to my team whatsoever. As I said, Crocoon can single-handedly destroy Stall after setting up, and this is the one reason I actually like Victini as opposed to Darmanitan, just because the trick, and I have been saved by that move so many times, and just love Victini, one of my favorite Yu-Gi Pokemons, hands down. So I bring in my Roserade, take the +1 Scald. He does get the burn, really isn't significant whatsoever. As he brings in the Bronzong, I decided just to go for the Giga Drain, considering that his only Pokemon that is affected by spikes now is Suicune, so getting those up would have been a little bit redundant and stupid on my part. So he brings in the Bronzong, takes the Giga Drain like a monster, and again, on the off chance he does want to get up late game rocks, I bring my Xatu, but no. He decides to just go for the Jump Ball, and at this point I'm just going to try to fodder off my Xatu because I really don't need it. I mean, it's done its job, it's prevented the hazards from getting up, it's practically worn down this Bronzong by itself, so I can just basically lose it at this point. He doesn't take me out with the Gyro Balls, and I in return finish him off with the Nightshade. As he brings in the Flygon, he actually goes for the U-turn as opposed to the possible Stone Edge or Outrage. I don't really know why, but it's not that big of a deal. And I actually clicked Psyshock as opposed to Nightshade because I thought it was going to take me out. That isn't the case though, and I'm just going to go for the Grass Knot as he switches back in the Flygon. Again, don't know what was up with that. And this last at this point is the Suicune, which is tricked. There's really nothing he can do, and he's just going to end up running. So yeah, definitely a fun game. I had a lot of fun personally. But as I said, guys, make sure to go check out Cam. His channel link is down in the description. Like, comment, and subscribe as you please. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I think I might continue this like little midnight uploading, just seeing how it goes. But yeah, guys, with that, I do believe I'm out of here, and later.